seconds for the
Yeah,
to connect.
got it. Yes, no problem.
Seconds for the
Yeah,
to connect.
got it. Yes, no problem.
All right, so you heard our echo. There's a few seconds of delay, which isn't a big deal. It's just okay, now I'm gonna send this. Okay, all right. All right, so just letting you know, I sent the link to the student leaders. They're posting on Discord for students to join. So we can wait a few minutes. I just want to double check while we do that. So go ahead.
Let's see.
Sorry. Go ahead and go through the slides real quick. Just make sure that so I can make sure that on my side it shows up.
Oh, so go to which site?
Just go and click through to the next few slides.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a first. So yeah, can you see them?
Hang on. Do it again on Zoom. Just make sure it also goes on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Do you see it?
Okay. Yeah, I see it now on YouTube. Yeah, there's because there's always a bit of a delay. I just want to make sure that it actually went through. And yeah. All right. So it works on YouTube, it works on Zoom.
Nice. Let me know when I can get started.
All right. We can get started whenever you're ready. So
okay.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Scott. Hi, guys. This is Sirisha. I've been with IT industry over 12 years. I completed my master's from University of Houston. After that, I have joined HP, and now I'm currently employed with Macquarie. So today I am going to go over getting agile with Scrum. So what is agile? Agile methodology came in response to the traditional waterfall approach. Generally, waterfall approach, the phases are linear. The next phase starts only once the first phase is completed. Also, once a phase is completed, going back and making any changes to the one that is already completed is a bit of a nightmare. So to resolve that, we have started an alternative methodology called Agile. It will help with the changing demands and expectations. It is a project management technology and it works in short and rapid cycles. And also there will be results at the end of each cycle. Scrum is a framework that falls under the Agile umbrella. So one thing that separates Agile from other approaches is the people doing the work, how they collaborate with each other. So in companies, if we see, development is one thing, but then working with the other developers is one thing. So today the focus will be on the Scrum methodology. What is Scrum, right? Scrum is a lightweight framework, and then it helps us to solve multiple complex problems. It is very well used Agile framework technology. It is very easy to understand, but it is a bit difficult to master. It helps us to drive complex problems, and it really helps the customers. So when we are talking about Agile and Scrum, so there are like in the Agile, there are individuals and interactions. When we come to Scrum, it is constant communication back and forth in the team. So we'll have a working software, and in the Scrum, we make sure that we have it at the end of every sprint. There is a lot of customer collaboration with constant feedback, and we can deliver changes whenever required. There is no need to wait till the end of the sprint or anything. We can just say that we need a change today, we can incorporate it as soon as possible. So this is mainly used for delivering the projects. So Scrum is used by all of the major companies like Microsoft, Yahoo, Google, whatever the big company that we have, they use Scrum. So it is used for multiple things, like if we see the commercial software or in-house development, it can be used in mobile phone development and video game development, anywhere, anything you develop, we can use the Scrum. So what is the main essence of Scrum? It is mainly used for fast feedback, quicker innovation, and then delighted customers, because if you are delivering something continuously and they're seeing the results, the customers will be very happy. And also we will have an accelerated pace from idea to delivery. So there is a sequential development, as we all are aware of. Earlier, it is getting the requirements, designing them, coding, testing. So we used to do one at a time in the traditional approach, but then Scrum team does everything at the same time. They'll be doing like one person will be getting the requirement and the person will start designing. And so it is an overlap. Similarly, in Scrum, we will be talking about sprints. So Scrum project makes progress in terms of sprints. A sprint is 2 to 4 weeks, or at least a calendar month. In our company, we use monthly sprints. A constant duration leads a better rhythm. Like, for example, if we are doing it every month without fail, then we will be able to say that, okay, this is what we need. And a product is designed, coded, and tested during the sprint. So in the Scrum framework, we will be discussing primarily on the 3 things, which are roles, ceremonies, and artifacts. If we go to roles, we have product owner, Scrum Master, and the team. There are different ceremonies like sprint planning, review, retrospective meeting, and also the daily Scrum meeting. And what are we going to mainly deal with them are product backlog, sprint backlog, and burn down chats. So first thing is the team. As we all know, in any company, the team is very important. So the Scrum team mainly has 3 responsibilities, which is the product owner. The product owner holds the vision of the product and he prioritizes the backlog. Backlog means there are multiple things that needs to be done, but we can't get done everything at the same time. So we break down into different time frames. And the Scrum Master is helpful for building the product. And they will help with the Scrum meetings. The team is the developer and who is developing the work and delivering the work. And they can be the members outside the software development too. This Scrum team works together to achieve a Scrum goal. And that in turn helps the customers. So when we talk about product owner, what does the product owner do? He defines the features of the product and he gives the scope. He gives the scheduled decisions also. He will say that this task needs to be completed at this time, then we are going to work on that. And he's responsible for achieving the financial goals. He prioritizes the product backlog. He adjusts the frequency of every sprint and accepts or rejects the work result. Let's say you have some work and you will not be able to deliver it this sprint, then you have to talk to the customers and make them understand why you're not able to deliver it this sprint and it has to move to the next sprint. Then at that time, product owner will be able to help us with the decisions. So let's see the Scrum Master. Scrum Master is responsible for enacting the Scrum values and principles. So they will be responsible for handling all the meetings. Like there are the meetings that needs to be facilitated, like the Scrum meeting, daily Scrum meetings, and the retrospectives that we are going to talk about them. All of these meetings, the Scrum Master will facilitate them. If the team has any blockers, the Scrum Master removes them and also helps the team coach. Like, for example, if there are any issues, the team members are working on two things and they have an conflict, then Scrum Master is a person to go to. They will be able to decide on the backlog. And in case if you want to work on a different task, you can tell the Scrum Master. So the main goal is to improve the team productivity and also protects the team from external interface. Like let's say once a sprint is there and a sprint goal is decided, Scrum Master will shield the team from external changes. Like a person comes and says like, oh, this is super important and we want to get it done. So based on the urgency, if it is a critical thing that is broken and needs to be fixed, then we have to be on it. But let's say if it can wait for a month and can be done in next sprint, then Scrum Master will be talking to the business and making them understand those things. And also the team. Typically in the Scrum, we have 5 to 9 people, and they are all of different functions. They can be DBAs, developers, testers, and they should be full-time. Generally, that is the expectations. And there are no titles, but you can just be a part of the team. And in this Scrum framework, first we have covered all the roles, which are the product owner, Scrum Master, and the team. Now the important part is the ceremonies. We have different activities like planning, review, retrospective, and daily meeting. We'll look at each of one now. First, when we go to the sprint planning, we are going to see who are going to attend the meeting, what is the agenda, and why we have to do this meeting. So in the sprint planning meeting, ideally we should have the Scrum Master, team, and the product owner. So what we will be doing in this is we will discuss a top priority product backlog items, and team will select what to do. And we will know what is being worked on, and we will be able to understand why it is being done. In this meeting only, we will be deciding the sprint goal and the sprint backlog. If we go to sprint planning, so that the entire team works on setting up the sprint goal. What is a sprint goal? So we will write in 2 sentences what can be done and how will be the work will be completed. So team also selects items from the product backlog, and a sprint backlog is created. Product backlog is a huge list of items, but we cannot do everything in 1 month. So we are going to pick and choose what are the things that are critically important for this month to be delivered. And different tasks can be identified, and each task is estimated. You can estimate it in the time frame, like whether you're going to spend 1 hour on this time or 8 hours on this time. And this is done by the whole team. It's not the Scrum Master picking up the task and saying that, okay, this team member is going to do this and this is the time. It's not like that. It is done. It is always a collaboration. And also we have to consider high-level design during the sprint planning. And the second one is the sprint review. The entire Scrum inspects the sprint outcomes, and they will discuss it with the stakeholders. So team tells us what is done during the sprint, and it takes a demo on what needs to be done. Like you just give a demo of what are the working pieces, what are the new features that are coming. So the customers will think that, okay, the work is being done and they will be happy to see the progress. The other one is the sprint retrospective. The Scrum team inspects how we have done the last sprint, what are the activities that are completed, and then what are the tools and what is the definition of plan. So periodically, we will see what is not working, and it is every 30 minutes. It's around 30 minutes. So the whole team also participates in this meeting, the Scrum Master, product owner, and also if customers are interested, then they can join this meeting too. So we talked about sprint reviews. They are about the product, whereas retrospectives are how what is the process of creating that product. Mostly in the sprint retrospective, we will discuss what we can do, what are we not doing correctly, and what we can continue doing. So it is mostly like the start, stop, and continue. This is just the way that we follow in our organization. And in this team, the whole team comes and then they give the honest feedback on what they can do well. And then sometimes you might need some knowledge transfer sessions. At that time, you can discuss with the team like, okay, we want few more knowledge transfer sessions. Like if you're interested to know what the other person is working, so that it is like whole team will come and talk about their interests. And also the daily scrum. Daily scrum is where it is like a stand-up and all of the team members come along with the scrum master and the product owner. They discuss what went well today, what are we going to work on today. So it helps any other unnecessary meetings. It's just for not for problem solving, but it is a place where we can say, what did you do yesterday? What are we going to do today? And is there anything blocking your way? So these are the 3 questions everyone will be answering. It is a quick 15-minute session. And so once they have given their updates, they can continue going on doing the work. The main intent is to make the team members responsible in front of their peers on what they're going to do today. And last one is the artifacts. So we have been talking about the product backlog, sprint backlog, and burn down charts, but we will quickly see what exactly is a product backlog. So product backlog is an ordered list of items that needs to be part of the product goal. So it gives the list of all the requirement, all the list of the desired work that needs to be done on a project. So it is generally prioritized by the product owner, and it will be reprioritized at the start of each sprint. So let's say this is a sample product backlog. It gives us a story, and you can say whether it is a new task or if you want any refinement of the task that has been already done. So there are like hundreds of things that are in the product backlog. And then sprint backlog means what are the things that we are picking and choosing from the huge list? It all based on the priority. So individuals just sign up for their own work, and work is generally not assigned. If you are doing the testing this time and then you want to do development in the next sprint, you can go ahead and then do it. So you also estimate the time that is being done. Like whenever we take a story, we say that, okay, this story is going to take like 3 days for me to complete. And by the end of the day, if you made significant progress, then that 3 days can be changed to 1. So any team member can add and delete or change the sprint backlog. If the work is unclear, then we can break it down into multiple smaller tasks. Let's say a big task is there earlier when the sprint planning was done, you were not aware of the complexity and you gave it like 3 points, but it might take 10 days. Then you can further break it down. So once the breakdown is complete, the work, what is remaining is more clear. So if you see here, this is how the sprint backlog looks like. We will just break down into multiple small tasks, and then we are going to set a sprint goal. So sprint goal is like this, where we are going to give a small 2-line story, and we will, this is for my sprint 2, and this is my story for my sprint 3, whatever that I'm going to work on. And then sprint burn down. So always customers are interested to see what we have done. So for that, it is a graphical way of showing how much work is remaining. It is updated in the daily scrum. Whenever the sprint progresses, the amount of work that is remaining should slowly decrease. And it should come to 0 by the end of the last day of the sprint. So whenever if the burn down chart shows increasing amount of work and few tasks are only completed, then that means sprint is not going well. Then you all can regroup and decide what is not going well and what needs to be done for the task to be completed on time. So what's the use of burn down charts? It mainly gives the values like commitment, focus, and openness. and it provides a transparency to the customer. So this is how a typical sprint burn down chart looks like. Generally, we have the sprint on the x-axis and what's the work remaining on the y-axis. When we start, it will be at the top level. But once we start delivering the task, it will come to 0 eventually. So just to have a quick wrap up, how it all works together. So first, when we talk about the product owner, he defines the vision and he talks to the stakeholders and users and gets the information of all the items, and he orders the backlog. And the team helps the product owner to further refine, like this is the task that needs to be done. And then the developers will help him understand, okay, this might take more time and this might take less time. And at that time, you can say how many tasks that can be done in the sprint backlog. And during the sprint planning, developers take the tasks that are at the top of the product backlog, and they will decide on how they can complete it. And also the team meets daily during the Scrum meetings, and they inspect the sprint goal and also plan for the upcoming day. Along all of this way, Scrum Master makes the team focused, and he emphasizes on the sprint goal and how they can improve the team. At the end of each sprint, there will be a retrospective meeting that needs to be done. Sprint review will be conducted, and they will be choosing on the next chunk of backlog, and the cycle repeats. So what's the advantage of having all of this task is the commitment and the focus, so that we will be able to develop and deliver the work. So these are a few of the references. And I have gotten some information from Scrum Alliance. Scrum Alliance is a place where you can get certified also. If you want to be a certified Scrum Master and learn about more Scrum practices, then you can do that. So along with being a developer, you can also be a Scrum Master too. That will help the team. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. I can stop sharing. Hey, Scott.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sirisha.
Hey, thank you.
So we do have a question. Let me pull it up. All right. Samuel asks, what is the ratio between sprint and non-sprint timelines?
So generally in Scrum, we have the sprints, and it will be like, it can be a 15-day Scrum or a month Scrum. So if that is what he's asking for, then it is like every Scrum sprints will be organized into 1 month. So non-sprints are like, for example, if some task comes in and then you have to fit it in, then your sprint timelines will be affected, right? So we have to be careful when doing that. Generally, we say no to more changes once we have the sprint goal and the sprint backlog is prepared.
All right. And then I actually have a question of my own. So when I was in San Francisco doing iOS, probably 80% of our time was spent on designing code, or not designing, but discussing the code. You know, what were we going to do? Will we use this algorithm or not? If we felt that this was a better way of doing things or not. And then maybe 20% was coding. This wasn't necessarily like Scrum, because it was more sometimes it fit within the framework of planning this stuff, but sometimes it might be just for that day we would discuss what to do. In your experience, would you say there are similarities between the two, and what are some advantages and disadvantages of this?
So yes, there should be a separate meeting for that. Generally in the Scrum, there are multiple people. The amount of the people is like 8 to 9. And so if you are having in-depth questions, and if we have asked, like not all the people will be interested about it, and then they have their own priorities. So generally how it works is getting the group of 2 or 3 people who is more collaboratively working with you, and then having a separate meeting with them. That way it won't impact the timelines, and it will save the time of everyone. So definitely designs should take most of the time. And sometimes our meetings also get longer than 15 minutes. Then we have to cut down the person, saying that we have some effective things like putting a timer. So generally, if there are around 10 people in the team, Then we give 2 minutes for each person. So if they are going about that, we will just say that, hey, sorry, time up. Can you please take it offline? It should be a way that we don't want to offend anyone, but still that's how the Scrum works. Because once we start doing that, people will understand. And also, I know definitely talking about the design with the colleagues is very important, but it should be done in a separate meeting. It should not be done as a part of the sprint stand-up.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the really important skills for a lot of people to learn is communicating isn't just speaking clearly. It's also recognizing maybe, okay, I've said these things and then summarize the rest, say, those are things that I need to discuss. I'm saying that so you guys know it, but that's something I need to talk to my team in a separate meeting. So I think what you described, that was very much my experience. I would have team members saying, all right, Scotty, let's move on. Oh, right.
Yes, that happens always.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we have another question from Samuel. When should you use Scrum versus Agile?
Sorry, what is the question again, Scotty?
When should we use Scrum versus Agile?
Yeah, so Scrum is a part of Agile framework. So generally, Agile means, let's say, a project is there, and then you know the outputs. Then you can just say like, okay, I'm a small one. Then you can say, okay, I'm going with the Agile methodology. But literally, Scrum is a part of Agile. So Scrum is more defined, like where you have multiple meetings with the team, more collaboration is needed. Then I will say go with Scrum. So in the Scrum, mainly we use the Jira boards. And in the Jira boards, there is a way of how you track the Kanban boards and also the uh, Scrum boards. Kanban boards are used for for tracking the daily activity. So I'll just say it is just a part of Scrum is a part of Agile. It's not different.
All right. I guess Sirisha, in your own experience, what would you say was one of the best highlights, I guess, when you use Scrum? Was there a particular problem that was projected to take 5 weeks to finish and you were able to finish it in 1 week or something? Do you have any great examples of how Scrum can really force multiply a team's abilities?
Yes, that always happens. Like, for example, I was working on a Docker issue and I did not work on Docker before. So that is my first time working on installing the Docker, and then we have to upgrade that to a new version. So when we were trying to do that, there were some problems. And then, one of our team member or team product owner suggested that we can use one, instead of going to the brand new Docker version, we can just use whatever we are using in the other application. So earlier it was taking like 5 days for me to just refine and then come back with a solution. But once we have tested that, it has completed in 1 day. So in the Scrum, when you're talking with people, collaborating on different solutions, you did not work on it before, but other might have worked on it. So it will help to deliver the solutions faster. That's the reason why we have the small discussions during the stand-up where we are blocked, what we are doing, what we have worked on yesterday, what we are going to work on today, and what are the blockers. At that time, this will really help us.
All right. We have another question from Almost. What are your thoughts on Kanban?
Kanban is really good. Like Scrum, in Scrum, we have, as I mentioned, that Scrum board is there and the Kanban board is there. In the Kanban board, we have more filters. Like, for example, you can put updated T-1. That means yesterday, if someone created a new task. Let's say, I know that we have a particular Scrum team, but then you will also have some support activities that come up. Let's say triage came up, and then you have to jump on it no matter what, because bringing the business back to normal is our criticality. So you develop a story, you just raise a Jira for it. And then in Kanban, you have a specific filter which shows whatever that you have opened yesterday. So you can talk about it in the next Scrum meeting in the stand-up, and you adjust your timelines as per that.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions? You can type it into the YouTube live chat. wait a few seconds for anyone who needs to type it.
Sure.
All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions from anyone. So I guess what we will do is go ahead and wrap up. And if anyone does have questions later, Sirisha, would you be open to taking questions from people through some method of contact?
Oh, yeah, sure. I can share my email address with you, Scotty.
All right.
So, I mean, I can give it to you right now in the chat, and then you can share it to the team.
Sounds good. And for everyone, we'll also put that into the video description below. And you can check that anytime you need to.
Sure. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you, Scotty, for the opportunity. And let me know if you have any other questions. I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, Sirisha. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And yeah, we have one more talk at 11 o'clock Central. So we'll see you on YouTube again. Sirisha, thank you so much for your time and hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.